Hey chums, welcome back to a Game with Chums podcast. I'm your host, the glorious, the magnificent, the omnipotent, the mysterious, the sexy, the glorious. Did I say glorious
Probably.
already? Yeah. I mean, it's me, Paulus, Paulie C, Paulie B, Paulie G. And with me, it's my ever loyal lapdog co-host and co-pilot, sidekick, my Robin to my Batman, glorious, and
You really like that word today.
I like it a lot. The magnificent Mr. Ross. How you been, mate? What you been up to? What's going
I'm
on?
just thinking, like, I don't know if you get to claim you're mysterious when you've like just named like 20 aliases. I'm not sure that really
Yeah,
works.
I should. I think next time I'm going to say the contradictory Paulie. I'm a walking contradiction. But yeah. How you doing, man?
Mystery wrapped in an enigma,
I
wrapped in beer.
wrapped in beer. I'm like Schrodinger's cat. Am I alive or am I dead? I
Simultaneously
don't know.
mysterious or not.
Yeah. It's one of those, mate. I could be AI generated. It's happening.
Could be. I've never met you in
But
person, so it's possible.
nah, I don't know.
All
Never
those
meet,
all those
ne-
videos that we've done that we're together, it's like a weekend at Bernie's kind of thing. Except it's
never
like a
meet,
dummy.
never meet your heroes. That's what they say. I know I'm your hero, but yeah. Anyway, like, what you been up to, man? Have you been doing anything? I know what you've been playing. Well, you been doing anything else apart from playing StarField?
Well, I've been playing Tales of Arise as well.
Have they got a
As
new expansion coming out?
They have in November, which is weird timing because the game came out September 2021, so it's 2 years old now. And I never finished it, which is
Yeah.
weird because there hasn't been a Tales of game since Symphonia that I haven't finished. But it was just they really screwed up like the balance and the economy in that game because you got very little money for doing anything. Healing items were really expensive, and bosses would just beat the crap out of you. So you use a load of healing on bosses, and then you wouldn't be able to buy stuff back to restock. So I just kind of got about halfway through the game, and I was just like, oh, I need to take a break from this, and I just never went back. So I started it again recently, just playing on easy, and it's like I'm hardly using any healing items at all. So it's probably a bit too far in the other direction, but I just want to get through it. It's a fun game. It looks amazing, and I just would like to see the story. So
Yeah, I played it.
it.
I liked it. Yeah, I liked it.
Good game.
Yeah, but like you say, man. Well, I know I haven't finished it, but there's just so many games coming out. Right, we've been blessed these last few years with so many big titles coming out.
That's the thing. I took a break from it and thought I just need a bit of a break, and then there's just game after game coming out, and I just never went back to it. So I thought now would be the time, and then I started it like a week and a half ago, maybe, and then like a few days ago, like a week after I started playing it, they announced DLC out of nowhere 2 years after the game came out. So that's my impetus to finish it soon because the DLC comes out in November, and I'd quite like to roll straight into that. But yeah, I've been playing that. I've been playing StarField, which we're going to talk about. I've started watching the Expanse as well because that's been on my to-do list for ages. And I was like waiting for StarField to come out, and I was like, what can I watch? It's kind of like grounded sci-fi to get me in the mood. And I thought, I'll watch The Expanse. I got Amazon Prime, hardly watch anything on it. So I'm about halfway through season 2 of that. It's really good show. Very much enjoying it. What I haven't been watching is Jujutsu Kaisen because I took a bit of a break after the flashback arc, and then I just forgot about it. So I think there's like 3 or 4 new episodes.
It's very forgettable. It's very forgettable.
The new season isn't. It took a bit of time to get moving. We'll see. Now it's back to the modern timeline. I need to catch up on it at some point.
Isn't like isn't the Shibuya arc, or is it the Shinjuku arc, or some big arc coming up that's supposed to be the best? Like everyone keeps like saying this, oh, it's coming. This arc is the best. This is when it really gets like serious in Jujutsu Kaisen.
I don't know. I don't really look ahead at like manga arc spoilers and stuff, so I have no idea what's coming.
I remember like discussing this with a guy at work who likes anime, and because I said I didn't really couldn't really get into Jujutsu Kaisen. And the guy was saying, I think it is the Shibuya arc. He said that's when it in the manga, that's when shit hits the fan, sort of thing. And I was like, oh, cool, man. Like, I think that'll be the like season 3. I think if the way it's lining up. So maybe I'll try and watch it again, but I don't know, man. I've tried it twice, and I just sort of like my eyes glaze over, and then I fall asleep, and I'm like, oh, what happened? It's not gripped me, man. It's not gripped me. But yeah.
I like the first season quite a lot. I rewatched it in the run up to season 2 coming out as well, and I still enjoyed it. But yeah, season 2's taking a bit of time to get started. I need to catch up now. There's other stuff I want to watch as well, and I'm trying to find the time between work, 2 RPGs, The Expanse, trying to fit some anime in. I'm reading novels on my commute into work. I need more free time. I need to win the lottery so I can get rid of the job part and have all my free time. That'd be nice. Let's do that. That's my plan now. Win the lottery.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of people's plan.
Mm.
I mean, I would like to win the lottery. Just imagine what you can do with all that cheddar. That's what the kids say, isn't it?
Probably.
Cheddar.
I don't know.
Probably. I don't know anymore. I just don't know. I'm so out of touch with like today's youth.
It used to be
like,
it, and then they changed what it was.
Yeah. Well, it now is like social media, and not even the good kind of social media. It's like not even 2 minutes, like 30-second videos on TikTok. That's the generation that's going to run the future of this country. Well, I don't even think it will. Well, TikTok.
I mean, they can't do any worse than our current government. But anyway, do you know what I hate? Is when I want to watch some YouTube or whatever on my phone. Open up the YouTube ad, it immediately opens up into some random short.
That's the thing.
Why are you feeding me this shit? I don't want to watch some short from some channel that I've never watched.
Shorts are the thing, man. It's quick, and it's and you can devour short videos so much quicker than watching a 20-minute video.
I'm not saying shorts are bad. I watch the occasional one. Like there's I think this guy is from the US. I think his channel is called Japan Eat. And he just does a load of shorts about like going to Japan, and I think he lives in Japan. He just goes to like random restaurants and just does quick video reviews of like the food. It's like that's fine. But when I open my YouTube app on my phone to watch something, and it doesn't even take me into like my subscriptions or the home screen or my queue or anything. It just immediately launches into a random short, and I'm like, why are you feeding me this crap? But yeah, anyway, that's my rant for this episode. Not a fan.
Oh. Nah.
Anyway, what have you been doing now that I'm done ranting about YouTube?
Thanks for asking, man. Yeah, cheers. Yeah, man. I've been playing a bit of StarField. Been streaming it on the old Twitch. Make sure to check out the Twitch channel. A game with Chums. Yeah, I've been streaming that. I find that when I play games, I tend to stream them now. I don't seem to play them on like free time. I'm like, oh, I could stream this. So I sort of limiting myself with like my time to play games. So I'm like, oh, I've got to get this game's come out. I can just play it on my own, or I could stream it or make a video of it. But yeah, I miss the days where I can just play a game and not having to worry about putting it up online. I kind of like thinking like that. But yeah, man. I haven't really been watching much. I want to watch that new One Piece live action. I heard it's really good. My younger sister watched it the other day, and she binge watched it. Said it was really good. So she's not really an anime. Well, she does like anime, but not as the extent as myself. So she watched it. I've been hearing good things about it, so I'm probably gonna give it a watch on Netflix to see what it's about. I mean, out of the big 3, I chose Bleach to follow, and out of the big 3, it's probably done the worst. I mean, like I think One Piece is number 1, and Naruto is number 2. Obviously, that finished, but then they had a spin-off called Boruto, which is about the sun, and the sun's really annoying, and no one really gives a shit about the sun.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's One Piece. Bleach has come back with the 1,000 year Blood War arc. I haven't really watched that because I just sort of fell off Bleach so much. So I don't know if I really want to get back into it and having to watch any anime and catch up on it. So that's kind of like not there. But if I watch live action of One Piece, because it's probably condensed,
Mm.
obviously they can't like fit everything in, so they probably condensed it into an hour. Like, I don't know how many episodes, probably about 10 episodes, an hour each. So I'll probably watch that. But if it's good, I'll give that a watch, and I'll give it a thumbs up. But yeah, so yeah, I haven't really done much, man. I've got no life anymore, Rules.
Well,
Got
you
no
say
life.
that, but I mean, we were out last weekend.
Oh, we were, weren't we? What were we doing last weekend? Oh, we went to the anime themed restaurant.
I wasn't sure if that was genuine or not.
Oh, yeah. I actually forgot what we did. I was like, what did we do? Because it was so forgettable, the restaurant. The food was not very good. And it was more like just going there for the old
The novelty.
novelty of it all. Yeah. The food. We've been to far better restaurants that had ramen. I thought the ramen was okay.
It was fine. Yeah.
It was
It wasn't
fine.
bad. Wasn't great.
Would I go back there? Probably not. It was a one-time thing. There's so much better places to go to if you like Japanese food in London.
And Koi
It's
ramen
okay.
in Pop Brixton was way better.
Yeah,
And that's not there anymore, is it? I
yeah.
don't think.
I mean, we shot some video for it, so I am putting together a little video for it. I'm gonna sort of like do a sort of an intro in it, and excuse me, I could just clobber it together, but I was gonna like intro it like, hey, do you guys like anime? Do you like, and then have someone go, yay, and then go, do you like anime food? Yay. Do you like anime and food? Yay. Sort of that sort of thing. I had that in my
Yeah,
head.
I mean, spoilers now for an unreleased video. This is
Yeah, I mean, it
crazy.
probably won't come out like that. It probably just come out like shit, and I'll just be like, "Well, you nerds will love this place." Blah blah blah. Bit of free promotion and all that, even though they probably don't need it. But
Well, I don't think they do need it because it was rammed in there.
it was pretty busy in there. Yeah, you have to book. You can't just sort of walk in off the street. But I think it is for more the novelty of it. It had the little shop at the front as well. Stuff was
Mm.
overpriced. But other than that, it was just like a restaurant with with anime characters painted on the walls.
I mean, the setting was
That was
cool,
about
but it was just, yeah, everything else
that.
was just kind of, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
But
she was
I'm
in
just
that.
glad they had aircon because that was like the hottest day of, well, not the year because I think we had hot days in July, but it was like one of the hottest
Uh,
days of the year,
yeah, it was a
and it
very
was
sweaty.
horrendous.
It was a clammy. You know what I mean? We're all clammy. You know, like your clothes get a bit sort of like clammy from like the heat sort of sticks to you, and it's just uncomfortable. And
There was an ice box in there, which was walked in and just
mm,
went, ah,
and having
thanks.
a nice cold beer really helped like get
And then
down.
a nice
And
steaming hot bowl of ramen.
yeah, I mean my ramen wasn't even that hot, to be honest. It's kind of like lukewarm. I was like, oh, uh. But yeah, then we went out, and then we had a few drinks. Dan, of course, left early again. Like, he just doesn't like to hang out with us anymore.
So,
We were like,
right, I've
yeah.
done
We were
my
like,
hours. I'm clocking out.
it was literally like, well, like, let's go to this place. We'll go here. And he was like, we'll get an Uber back. He was just like, well, we bought these train tickets, and then it'd be silly for us to like not use them. And I'd rather like pay like £7 to get home than having to pay 30 and then split it 4 ways. I was like, we probably end up paying the same anyway 4 ways. So,
Hmm.
but you know, that's how he is. So, yeah, he just wanted to get home, probably go to bed or just not hang out with us. But
I
me and
mean,
Will's like,
we got an Uber back from where did we get it from? Like near Charing Cross, wasn't it?
nah, we got it from the mall, the Pall Mall. Was
All
it where
right.
Downing Street is?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got it from there.
But we
Uh,
got an Uber back at like 1 in the morning, half 12, 1 in the morning, with two
mm,
stops, and it was 40 quid.
I
Like,
mean,
that was
it's not too
crazy.
bad.
That's
Yeah,
really
that's
good.
pretty good. Like I've been to parts in London in the black cab, which is like going down the road for like 30 quid. You know, not going that's been picked up because they put a charge on it for being picked up in central London. It's
Mm,
like it's small, it's like £1.50, but that was included in the price. So that's not bad at all, man. I'll take that any day, man. Like than having to get on the smelly bus. So I just rather just get in a cab and just get
get
home
home.
and get home and not have to worry about trains or buses or anything like that. Because unfortunately, London is not a 24-hour city. It might seem that way. It might even try and pass itself off as a 24 hour city. It really isn't.
I mean, it's
But
better than
then,
Tokyo in that regard.
yeah, I was going to say that because I was like, Tokyo is not actually 24 hours as well, is there?
Tokyo's not nowhere near.
Yeah,
Tokyo's like
no,
it's 11 p.m. Fuck off.
fuck off. Yeah. Everyone crams into the last train and it's just horrible.
It's crazy. It's a
Yeah.
tsunami of people trying to get on
Yeah.
that train.
Yeah. I mean, maybe their bars stay open later, but I don't know. Like, I think they all stay went to closed at 11 and maybe I think Golden Plate bars and Golden Guy stay open later, but
But
yeah,
then if you can't get back to your hotel, then you're screwed.
yeah.
Cabs.
Anyway,
I mean, we talk about how expensive cabs are in London. Cabs are in Tokyo are at the very least on par. They're not cheap.
yeah. I don't think they have an Uber there. I'm not sure.
Probably, they probably do, or they probably have some kind of local equivalent. But
Portugal had Ubers and they were great. And they were cheap as chips. If you want to go out and have a good time, and which is open, and they're open much later than London, go to Lisbon. Lisbon's great. Lisbon's a cool city. The only drawback is it's fucking hilly as hell. You
very
know,
hilly
if
and very hot.
very, very hot, very hilly. But other than that, people are nice. Food is good. The drinks are not cheap, but they're cheaper than London, and everything seems to be open a bit more. Is open later than there is here, and they all seem
And
to
Ubers are much cheaper.
much cheaper.
Much,
But
much
anyway,
cheaper.
let's move on, man. Let's talk about gaming news. Anything's happened in the world of gaming?
Well, there were a couple of streams midweek.
Mm.
One of them happened while I was at work, so I had to skim through it when I got home. And then the other one was at like 10 p.m. And I can't remember really anything that was in either, to be honest. I
What are
probably
you
should have
talking
like done a
about?
recap before this,
What
but
we what were the two
it,
streams?
it was Nintendo Direct. Was this Thursday? I can't even remember what day it was.
Yeah,
Um, a Nintendo Direct and a State of Play, and I've forgotten them entirely. I know they
yeah.
showed
I didn't
Rebirth.
even I didn't watch the state direct. I never watched Nintendo Direct.
I skimmed through it and I was like, I'll skim through it, and it was like chapters for each game that was announced, and I was just like, I'll stop when I see something that interests me, and so I just skipped through like 90% of it, to be honest.
Mm.
But I mean, they announced a new F Zero, which people have been waiting for
Oh
years,
yeah, yeah.
except it's a battle.
Oh,
So yeah, people aren't
uh,
happy about that one. Um,
uh,
Other stuff, I can't remember what happened, to be honest.
no,
I can't
I
remember what
can't.
else was in it.
I know like they announced F-Zero. I didn't know it was a battle royale though.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a kick in the nuts. It's
They
going,
announced
yeah. How are they going to do an F-Zero battle royale? They
it's just
just
F-Zero 99, so you just start a race with
oh
99 other people, and then whoever is the last one still
can
racing.
just yeah that old chestnut, right?
Like
Okay.
Tetris 99 that they did a while back as well.
Mm, right.
But
What was
yeah,
the
they were.
what was the state of play like? Did you watch it? Did
I
you
did
manage
watch
to
it, and I
catch?
can't remember. I remember Final
Uh,
Fantasy VII Rebirth was in it. I can't remember
yeah.
anything else. Nothing else apparently stuck in my
Uh,
brain. There was a Spider-Man 2 trailer as
oh yeah,
well. I remember
Spider-Man
that.
2. Yeah. The Hell Jumpers 2.
There was a Hell Jumps 2 trailer, yes.
That
We probably should have done our homework before doing this, shouldn't we? But I mean,
yeah, we're wow, we're not journalists or this is not a full-time job. We're just a bunch of pissheads who just get together every once in a while just to drink. I feel like that's all we just meet up and get boozed up and just cause nonsense everywhere we go. we
Pretty
go
accurate.
went into Brewdog in London, and then what me and Roz was, I was like, oh, you know what I fancy? A whiskey, no, just a bit of water in it, no, nothing else, no Coke. And me and Roz was like, yeah, let's get one, but it's got to be Irish though. I was like, of course. So we just got there, and I remember asking the way at the bartender, I was like, just get 2 Irish whiskies and no mixer, just a bit of water. He's like, water? It's like, yeah, just have it straight. Come on, man. Probably like not used to like people asking for that, but it was nice though. I think it was just a Jameson's or something. So, but I don't know. I don't know how people can drink whiskey straight all the time. After a while, it just burns your throat. But anyway, yeah. What we're talking about?
Once or twice, it's fine. But
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, the
Yeah.
Nintendo Direct. Another Code they showed a remake of that, which was a DS point and click game, which I never played, but I always heard good things about. So I'll definitely pick that up.
And not play it,
I might play it. You don't know.
man. Come on, don't bullshit me, man. Look, I know you, man. Look, all those games you got there, I bet a small fraction of them you've actually played.
To be honest, I probably played most of them. Completed, probably like 20%.
That's not really just cheating, isn't it? Just like, oh, I'll play it for 20 minutes and then switch it off and then I'll play
I
it.
can call it done.
Yeah, I've done my research, which a lot of these journalists seem to do these days, isn't it? Play a very short amount of the game and then review it, but we'll get onto that.
Or decide what they're going to give it before the review.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah.
So there was another bit of news, which was, I mean, I think we've extracted all we can from these two streams, given none of us can remember what was in them.
I mean, like Vincent was in the Rebirth trailer. He popped up near the end.
To be fair, they showed a lot. They showed a lot in that trailer.
Yeah, I mean, the back of his head.
Hmm.
And it's like, why don't you just show him? We all know what he fucking looks like. It's like, it's a big reveal.
In the game nearly 30 years.
Yeah, ago. I know he was optional, but they're clearly that's gone out the bloody window.
No, it's so was Yuffie, and Yuffie's clearly
clearly
happy to show Yuffie.
Yeah, so just show Vincent. The guy's been in the coffin for how long, and his hair looks fantastic.
He's worth it.
He's worth it.
Yeah, they did show a lot in that trailer, so it makes me think maybe this one at least has some content in it, unlike the first game, which was like 90% garbage.
You really didn't like it, did you? Well, I mean,
I'm up for them if they can redeem it with the second part. I'm willing to give them the chance, but the first game was so thin and so full of just busy work garbage, and like literally the side quests people give them MMOs shit for, and nobody complained about it in FF7R for some reason. But yeah, that was like a 8-hour game stretched out to 40. This one looks like there was a lot in that trailer, so it looks like there's actually going to be some stuff in this game. So maybe it'll be good.
I mean, I don't think it's open world. I think it's but there are sections on the of them venturing in
driving the tiny Bronco around.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like I mean that section of the game is where it all opens up of the original that you can do and explore and go around. So that should be good. But they're clearly making this a three-part trilogy. It is going to end in a cliffhanger. I've got a feeling it's going to end in that big scene. And I probably think they're going to switch it up. Who's going to, what I'm talking about. I know I don't want to spoil it, but it's such an old game. But because it's for a new remake, who knows? They might change it up. They might change the.
There was an interview I think it was with Tetsuya Nomura, and he did say that the game ends at the city of the Ancients. So it's clearly going to be that part of the game.
Yeah, I thought as much. And that's the third act, and that's the end of the second act in the original game.
End of disc 1, I think, isn't it? In the original ones. And obviously with like disc 3 was like an hour long. So yeah, it's like pretty much effectively the halfway point, really.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll see. I mean, the trailer did look good. Janon looked amazing. And that's
Did,
one thing I won't not criticize the first part for it. It was a very good looking game.
did um did they show Sid? Because I'm pretty sure you meet Sid before you meet Vincent.
I think yeah, you do.
Yeah,
Sure you do.
I don't think Sid was in the trailer.
Mm, imagine he'll
So
be in it.
yeah, well, he's got to be in it. He's non-optional. He's mandatory member of your team.
He becomes the party leader at one point.
I
So
mean,
nobody else wants to.
they all fucking become the party leader at one point. So many characters get taken out during that part. That part on which one I'm talking about. I don't want to say the parts because I don't want to like younger view listeners or people who don't know the game that well.
I
So
mean, to be honest, they seem intent on changing everything, and like that was one of the other things I hated about the first part with the stupid friggin' ghosts swirling around.
yeah, that was weird.
It was like fan fiction tier
Mm,
shit.
mm,
So, but
yeah,
yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll see what they do with it. I'll still play it
yeah,
because I hate myself. And it's a Final
yeah.
Fantasy
I
game.
hate you too. I mean,
Thanks.
sorry. Sorry.
But I mean, this one is only 3 months PlayStation exclusive as well. So I'll only have to wait 3 months to play it on
For it.
presumably PC.
Yeah, I mean, people thought maybe it'll be Xbox, and who knows? Maybe like Xbox will be at
Possibly.
the Tokyo Games Show, and they will probably have a few announcements to make. And they got that new deal, not new deal, but they seem to mended bridges with Square Enix. They got the new CEO in there, so maybe something will pop up. I'm not expecting anything like Final Fantasy Rebirth on there. Maybe the remake will finally come.
They definitely
Not
won't show Rebirth because they won't be allowed to talk about it on any other platforms
Yeah, of course.
until three
Yeah.
months after it comes out. But
I mean, definitely won't be Final Fantasy. What was the new one come out with?
16,
16. Yeah.
yeah, that's
Uh,
timed PS5
yeah.
exclusive for 6 months and then PC. And then it's meant to be
You know,
console exclusive for a year. So if it's coming to Xbox, we won't hear about that until next summer.
maybe they announce it and then they go and they'll give you a date. Who knows? I
They
mean, I'm
won't even
not.
be able to talk about
Mm,
it until the exclusivity period's up.
but then that only leaves remake, then, doesn't it? And that's been
Yeah.
like up in the air for like 2 fucking years now. So,
Well, so this
uh,
is kind of we're going to do kind of a dual um, topic because we're going to talk about what Xbox is going to be doing at TGS a bit in detail. So I guess we can go into that now. But there was someone on
did we?
Twitter.
I don't remember agreeing to that. Okay,
There's
we'll
Genki
dry it.
underscore JPN on Twitter who like posts about Japanese games and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say how reliable they are because I've just seen tweets from them here and there over the months, but people seem to think they're reliable. And they said, let me find the tweet. This was 14th of September, which was Thursday, I think. They said next week a bunch of Square Enix games will likely be announced for Xbox at the Xbox TGS broadcast IMO. Says Square Enix HD games division hasn't been doing so great in recent years, so as a risk-averse
Oh, yeah, it
company,
hasn't.
I think they were easy to take deals, in my opinion. But I think now they will try to be more multi-platform as a new strategy and focus more on bigger AAA titles. IMO. So yeah, there's a Xbox actually have a digital broadcast at TGS this year, which is September the 21st, which I think is this Thursday.
9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, something like that. I'll be
Yeah.
at work, unfortunately, having a wonderful time, I'm sure. So I'll
Yes.
be relying on Twitter to keep me up to date. But
It's not
a
not
lot of
Twitter.
people seem to think,
It's the artist not formerly known as
no,
Twitter,
I'm not calling it.
X.
I'm not calling it that. I
Who the
refuse.
fuck calls it X? So
Media
stupid.
have taken to calling it X now, and it
So
infuriates me
so dumb. That's such a
every time.
better fucking name, Twitter.
I know. Every time I'm watching the news or something, I'm like, blah, 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 said on X. I'm like, oh, fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
Stop indulging Elon Musk's fucking ass hattery.
Yeah.
Man
He's an
child.
asshole.
It's called
He
Twitter.
is. Yeah.
X is the stupidest name.
Mm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so I'll be looking on Twitter for updates when that's on. because people seem to think it's going to be a big deal. Maybe not in the context of like multi-platform stuff, because obviously they're probably not about to announce any exclusives or anything. But in terms of like games that have skipped the platform coming to Xbox, people seem to think this is going to be a bit of a big one. I think people should temper their expectations. I don't know anything, obviously, but it's always better to go in with tempered expectations and come out surprised rather than go in expecting the moon on a stick and come out with a rock. You know, it might just be a bunch of trailers for games we already know are coming. Hopefully it won't. I don't know if Genki underscore JPN actually has like any insider information. They said IMO a lot in that series of tweets, so it might just be a feeling they have, which is fine. A lot of people are feeling this might be the year that Final Fantasy actually comes back to Xbox properly, because it's been absent for a few years outside of crap like Final Fantasy Origin. And they're not crap like Crisis Core, which I still don't understand why they put that on there and not the remake. But maybe this is the year remake comes, because they did just have at Final Fantasy 14 Fan Fest, they had Phil on stage to announce Final Fantasy 14 is finally coming, like a decade after that game first came out, 2.0. And then like the new CEO of Square Enix, Kiryu, came out and said they were going to put more of their games on Xbox. So it makes sense for this to be a place where they start announcing titles, because, you know, TGS and Xbox are going to be there. So I think there's a good chance we could see some cool stuff. What do you think, Paul? What do you think we might see from Xbox at TGS? Any ideas?
I'm hoping, because Phil Spencer has talked about expanding and really sort of concentrating on the Japanese market. So I'm hoping there's some sort of new sort of I'm not expecting studio acquisitions, but maybe some new partnerships teaming up. Be good, because he does want to make more inroads in Japan, because I think they've neglected that. Like last gen was just forget about it. That was dead. In Japan. But they've done it before, and with the 360 era, there were exclusive Japanese games on there. They had the big one like Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey. So I'm hoping that there'll be something like that coming out. Maybe they've made Phil Spencer has spent a lot of time in Japan. Obviously, he's been over there recently, spoken to the new head of Square Enix, and I'm hoping that some sort of new announcement will be made. I'm not expecting much. Like I'm expecting like some of the Square Enix games that skipped the generation to come on there, skipped Xbox to come on there. So that's probably more what's going to happen. Like Octo Traveler 2 didn't come out. I'm thinking that might come out. That'll probably be announced for Xbox. Who knows, man? Like maybe something. Some. I mean, they like Sony are not going to be there. So I think it's a good chance for Xbox to sort of take they looks like they're taking center stage with that. So they wouldn't just go there without something to announce and show. Yeah, well, you would hope. No, not just there just to sort of be there just for the sake of being there. I'm hoping that they got something to announce and show. And who knows, maybe they could revive their deals with Platinum Games, with Scalebound. I know I don't expect that there, but it'd be nice. I mean, they did say that they'll be interested to sort of get back into Scalebound. But I'm not expecting that. So we'll wait and see, man. It's a surprise, but I'm always I've learned over the years just to sort of keep your expectations sort of tempered and grounded, because you can let your imagination get away with you, and you always end up disappointed. Even though if the showcase was good, you always think, oh, they didn't show what I thought they were going to show or announce. So, yeah. But speaking of keeping your expectations grounded and tempered and, everything like that, let's talk about Xbox's recent first party exclusive.
Must
You
we?
know,
The
you might
discourse has
you
been
if
so tiresome.
you might have heard of it. It's a small little indie game from an indie developer, Bethesda.
Called No
I don't
Man's
know if you,
Sky.
I don't think anyone's really heard of it. You know, it's a game called StarField. Have you heard of that? I don't know if you've. It's quite low key game.
Isn't that like a No Man's Sky ripoff or something?
Apparently so.
That's what I heard. That's what people told me.
Yeah, but yeah, let's talk about it, man. It's been released. It was on early access this month. Then it got a full release last week. Um, I think a week ago actually. Yeah, it's been out, and the reviews at the beginning were favorable, but now they're sort of like it's getting kind of like negative reviews, negative feedback from certain quarters and from certain mainstream gaming outlets, which I mean, we made a video, we did a video, we did a podcast about this. One of the like, is there a sort of bias against Xbox? And maybe like it's kind of like made me think, yeah, there is kind of a bias against Xbox because, as you know, like the Starfield's an Xbox exclusive, and I can't help but think that there was Bethesda, well, ZeniMax released two games earlier before they released Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop, which got pretty favorable reviews. Some even called Deathloop Game of the Year, but that was exclusive to the PS5 for a year, and they got really good reviews. People were really singing its praises. I can't help but think that the same people, or though they actually gave Starfield some negative reviews and negative press. So I don't know if it is because it is an exclusive to Xbox. I kind of like thinking yes, but like, anyway, like let's before we get into the negative, let's talk about the positive, man. Let's be positive, like because I, for one, like the game, and I'm pretty sure you like it as well. But let's talk about let's first off talk about how you find the game, how we find it. Let's discuss that before we get into the less sort of favorable discussion about the game, the negative. Let's get the positive first. How you finding it?
Very, very big.
It is a
There's
big
a
game.
lot. There's a lot. There's
Would you
I've
say
got
it's a bit
about
over? Would you say it's a bit overwhelming?
I mean it can be. Not in a
Mm,
bad way though, just in a kind of holy crap, there's a lot here.
mm,
It feels like a game I'm going to be playing for more than a year. I mean it's been out. I bought the Constellation edition, the smartwatch and everything, which is actually it's actually pretty cool as far as like special edition stuff comes with. It's actually a useful thing. It's like a fully functioning smartwatch. So I was playing it from early access on the first. Um, I took the day off work because I was just like, you know what, I could do a 3 day weekend and start Starfield on like Friday morning. So I'd spent about 6 hours playing it on that first day, which I haven't done with the game for God knows how long. I can't remember the last time I did that. It might well have been like Mass Effect 2 or something way back when. I think I've got about 20 hours on it now because obviously like trying to fit it in here and there with work. And then obviously, like I've mentioned at the top, been playing Tales of Arise as well. So trying to kind of balance the two. So I managed about 20 hours at this point. I've done a little bit of questing, a little bit of exploration, some dogfights, some mining and stuff. Haven't delved deep into like the shipbuilder stuff, but I have modified like the Frontier, the first ship you get. I've like switched out the engines and the grav drive and like the crew bay and stuff like that. So
mm,
it's going to end up like Trigger's broom, still called the Frontier, but everything's different. But
mm,
yeah, I'm really enjoying it at this point. It's a Bethesda game. You know what you're going to get, and it's a Bethesda game in space, which is exactly what I wanted it to be. So it's been although it's overwhelming and there's a lot, it's been very comforting in the sort of sense of like slipping into a comfortable pair of slippers or something. But obviously, there's a load of new stuff as well. It's a whole new setting, but you kind of settle into that similar kind of rhythm of questing and exploring, picking up loads of crap you don't need to be picking up, like spoons, and then purging your inventory because you can't walk. Although one thing I will say that's better is
You
that
can walk, but
yeah,
it just
this
uses up your. So
yes,
yeah.
this is one thing I'm glad they've done. Whereas when you're over encumbered in like Elder Scrolls and Fallout, you just walk really slowly. In StarField, you can still walk at normal speed and you can even sprint, but you'll just get out of breath very, very quickly.
Mm.
So at least you can do it in like bursts rather than just constantly walking slowly, which is much better. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it at the moment. It's hard to stay focused on any particular quest strand because there's just so much stuff and like you'd be walking through like New Atlantis and you'll overhear gossip and it will add a new quest to your log and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
you're like, that sounds interesting. I'm going to go and like look into that now. And then that turns into like a multi-part quest that lasts you for 2 hours, and you're like, oh crap, what was I doing before
It's
this?
never as simple as just go here and do this. It just sort of starts like it starts like getting bigger and bigger. You're like, oh shit, this was only supposed to be a 20-minute thing, and it's just gone on for like hours.
And now I've jumped 3 systems over.
Yeah.
One thing I thought was funny, I landed on a random planet because I spent like an evening just kind of hopping around different systems and like landing on planets just to see what they were like and like scanning wildlife and stuff like that. And I landed on one that had this abandoned science outpost on it. And I was like, well, this seems kind of creepy and like clearly something's happened here. And I sort of like picked my way through the outpost expecting like a big like alien to come out and scare me at some point, and nothing happened. I couldn't find any way to like advance or pick up any kind of quest there. So oh, that's kind of weird. And then I started the United Colonies faction quests, and like one of the first quests sends you there, and then you find out what happened. That finally triggered it. I was like, oh, I wasn't supposed to come here yet. That kind of made me laugh a bit. Yeah, the UC faction quest line has been pretty good so far. I'm not very far on the main quest because 12 years later and I still haven't finished the main quest in Skyrim. Never finished the main quest in Fallout 4 either because you just end up getting too busy like exploring around. What about you? How are you finding it?
Yeah, good. I've not put as many hours into it as you have. I put probably about coming up to 8 hours, so it's not a lot. But in those 8 hours, a lot has happened. Obviously, I did the quest with Sarah Morgan to get the other piece of the artifact. Done that. That was good. Enjoyed that part. And then I'm supposed to be meeting both Sam and Barrett, but I was like, oh well, fuck that off. I'm gonna go and do a few side quests.
Exploring.
And then it's just like I was supposed to do this side quest about, it's just titled Mantis, and I was like, right, I got to get to this planet, and it's because you can't just fast travel directly to the planets. You have to sort of like, it's like a
map, your range.
Yeah, and I just can't get there. So I was like, right, obviously I can't do that yet. But getting there was fun because I ran into like abandoned like space stations or like people like ships like hailing me, calling me Charlie 3 and then warning me not to go into the system. And then of course him warning me not to go into the system activated the quest. I was like, oh, cool, I got to do that. And then then I accidentally what's the fast travel system called? It's a G drive.
Grav drive.
Grav drive. So I grav drived into another system, and then it turned out it was full of Crimson Fleet. So I was like, oh bollocks! And they spotted me, and they were like, right, this is like controlled. This whole area is controlled by them. I was just like, okay, I'm dead. I try to jump away, but it's not as simple as just like you have to like sort of get your marker and then wait for the engines to power up, or if you've not got like, because you got to sort of distribute all your power to
Power
your
distribution. Yeah.
distribution. So I only had like 2 bars on my my jump drive, so I was like, oh shit, it's going to take 3 seconds, and then that 3 seconds it just blew me up. So I was like, right. So but luckily a quick save is really good on Starfield, so I went back to before I went into that system and just avoid, I can't remember the name of the system, but I was like, all right, avoid this system because it's full of Crimson Fleet. So I was just like, okay, I'm going to have to go a different way around it. But it's really fun. I found like a little colony, and it seems really eerie because everyone's like, they're called homesteaders, and they were like, I really like living here. It's great. You didn't think that the living around here will be any fun up, like, and they were like, nor did I, but I love it here. I was like, right, there's something going on here.
Clearly
There's something
cult.
clearly something's happening here. Do you know what I mean? I was like, right, this is interesting. I've landed in the settlement area, and obviously there's places that you can markers you can go to sort of unlock like more areas, explore. So I was like, right, this is interesting. Something's going to happen here. I'm going to have to get really into it. But again, then I'll get sidetracked from there because I went back to New Atlantis. I randomly went into an art store in New Atlantis, met an art dealer. Then that activated the quest. He was like, would you go to the Trade Commission Authority and pick something up for me? I was like, right, the Trade Authority deals in dodgy contraband. I was like, this is going to... He's like, yeah, it's simple. Just the exchanges happen. All you have to do is pick it up and bring it back to me. I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure because they
scan that simple.
Every like settled system you go into, you get scanned for contraband, and I'm like, that art piece of artwork is going to be contraband, and I'm going to get caught, obviously, like, because like, and then it's going to activate. I know that's probably going to activate something when you get caught. Do you know what I mean? So it's good, it's fun. I like this, man. It is, like you say, very sort of overwhelming because you like in New Atlantis, you walk around, you're picking up like in missions like that, man. Like you hear gossip. It's like very Mass Effect 3, but better with the tracking.
Just inserts questions straight into your log.
But Mass Effect 3, like you just update, and then you'll just be like, oh right, I got that. How do I track this? The tracking in the Mass Effect 3 was bad, but it's really fun so far. I have the perk. I got they got the free perks. Mine was wanted, the Adoring Fan, and Kid Stuff. So my parents are in it.
Kid Stuff is great. I picked Kid Stuff as well.
Yeah. So I was like, reading into, I was like, wow, you get your parents in it? I was like, I gotta have that. And of course they turn up. I went back to
everywhere.
Yeah, I was like, I went to their apartment. They were like, hey son, this is your room. Come in there. I was like, right, I'll pick up all my stuff. Then I went back after I did the picked up the artifact with Sarah. I came back and they were there. And I was like, yeah, they're at the lodge. And like, oh my God, you're at Constellation. This is, I knew my son would make it. I was like, oh, wow.
We should probably let you get back to work. But Miss Noel did promise us a tour.
Yeah, she was like, do you like cookies? She was like, cookie? Yeah, I like cookies. What kind of cookies? Snickers Snickerdoodles or something. Yeah, something like that. I was like, wow, that's cool. So I love that part, that sort of stuff. It's really cool, man. That's what I love about Bethesda games.
I'll give you a little hint as well. Go to Neon.
I've been to Neon. Yeah.
Have you been to the nightclub?
No, I've not been there yet. No.
Go into the nightclub on Neon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with Sarah. I think she did mention going there. She just goes, oh, for research purposes. So okay, but because I'm doing the Ryuji quest, I think.
I picked that up when I landed on Neon.
Yeah,
get a job for Ryujin.
Yeah, Ryujin. I picked that up in New Atlantis. I did the. I filled in the. I did the little online application, and they were like, right, go to Neon to go and have your interview. Did that. Told me to go and get coffee. I was going coffee at Terra Brew, and then I run into the guy they fired who I took their job off, and he ended up pulling the gun on me. I was like, whoa, what's going on? It's like, I gotta take you out before you take me out. I was like, what the hell, man? I managed to talk him down because I got pretty good persuade. So I invested a lot of my points in persuasive. It's
Mm.
like if I can get out of these sort of situations without having to resort to violence, it'd probably be good. But might open up some more quests, for me. So I managed to do that. It kept him alive. Then he's like saying, "Oh, if we run into each other again, remember, you talked me down, and hopefully you'll do the same for me." I was like, "Oh man, am I going to run into this guy again?" So I'm really like interested. And I went back to the board, spoke to the lady who hired me, and she was like, "Well, we got another job for you. You seem like you'd be good for this." I was like, "Right, okay." Obviously, there are like being a big mega corpse, nothing good will happen. Nothing good is going to come from that. But I'm intrigued. This is what I love about it. I'm just like off on a random quest, and now it's just opening up to something huge. But I have heard that people saying you should sort of get more into the main story of Starfield because it does help with like the side quests and stuff. They're saying like the main story in Starfield is probably the better main story that Bethesda has released. So I kind of like want to meet all my other companions. I saw Sam talking to his daughter in the lodge, and I've obviously met Barrett. And you got to go to the Eye to meet Vladimir. So I kind of want to get those done just so I can get Barrett and Sam as my companions. But I have heard people go, don't leave the main story, just do the main story, and then you'll like it, because obviously I think you're going to get some sort of powers, because obviously in the trailers you see him using levitate and stuff, so obviously that's going to be tied into it. So I'm probably going to do that after a few missions. So yeah, but other than that, I've really enjoyed it, man. Like I've been playing it on the Series X, so it's locked in at 30 frames. I know you've been playing it on PC. And have you encountered any sort of bugs or anything like that yet?
I haven't had any bugs. I mean, I've only played it a little bit on my desktop because my desktop's in my room, so I've mainly been playing it on my laptop, which has like a mobile 3070. It's a pretty capable laptop. And it's kind of, my frame rate's kind of anywhere from 30 to 100 frames per second, depending on what's going on screen. Like in New Atlantis, it tends to hover around 40. I'm waiting for them to patch in DLSS. I know someone's made a mod for it, but I'm playing like the Game Pass version on PC, so I'm not sure I think it still works on that version, but I'm just going to wait until they patch it in because they've announced it recently. And that'll help with performance. So FSR isn't great. But I mean, it's been performing pretty well. Generally, when I'm out playing the game, it's over 60. And it's just sort of like running around New Atlantis really where it dips. But I was going to say, have you been to Mars yet? There's a funny quest on Mars.
No, I've not been to Mars yet, no. No, actually, I have been to Mars. Yeah, I've landed on Mars. Yeah. Yeah, I have. And because they were like, "Oh, watch out for the dust because it gets everywhere." Yeah, I have been to Mars. Yeah, Sidonia, and I ran into someone who there was this woman there with a southern accent, like leaning. I can't remember her name, and she you can do like bounties and stuff for her. I can't remember her name. Yeah, but
she's near the entrance. Yeah,
entrance, yeah. I can't remember her name though. Can't remember the name.
My character background is a bounty hunter, so it gives you a little bit of extra dialogue with her. But, I can't remember her name now because I spoke to her like the first thing I did when I got there, and that was like hours ago in the game. But if you go down onto like the mining deck, like the bottom floor, there's like the mine foreman is like this Aussie guy. I don't know what his name is, but it's quite funny. He asks you to do a quest for him, and it just gets very, very silly.
Really, I must have missed that because that's part of the main. It's part of the main story to get the artifact, isn't it? You go around Mars, then Neptune, and then you sort of like go around and then find the ship that your contact is on. Who turns out that he was using it as a hood ornament. It's like, oh, cool. And then you can recruit him into your crew or your crew.
Do you have any crewmates yet?
Yeah, the Adoring fan.
All right, yeah.
Yeah,
how annoying is he?
Really fucking annoying. But I thought I chose him. I was like, right, I kind of want him. I was like, kind of want him. I've made my bed. I'm going to lie in it, but I told him to get on the ship, and he's always on the ship. And he's just always like he's quite good when he reacts to stuff you do in ship. He's like, "Oh, another successful star jump," and it's like, "Oh, okay, yeah." He's like, "Oh, the feeling of taking off." And I was like, "Oh," yeah. And then like he's like, "Oh, I can't believe I'm in your presence. There's a bit of space dust on your shoulder. I blew it off." And I was like, "Oh, cheers, thanks, man. That's kind of weird, but
Yeah, I think
yeah."
I've got about 6 crewmates at the moment.
Oh, you got 6.
I think so,
Oh,
yeah. Because I've got Sarah, I've got Barrett, I've got Vasco, and
mm.
then there's the opening mission where there's Lynn, those 2 miners, Lynn and Holden. I think the other
Oh,
guy's name is.
you can recruit
Those
Lynn.
two can, yeah, both of them you can recruit.
Oh,
Because on the mission you go back to get Barrett, and then when you get
yeah, you
Barrett
go
back,
back there.
you can recruit both of them as well. So I've got
Oh,
both of them. I got where did I get this other guy? I think he's called Eric. He's a pilot. Can't remember where I
mm.
picked him up. Might have been on Mars. And
Get your
then
ass to Mars.
yeah, and then at the moment I've got Sam and his daughter on my ship as well. So I picked up that quest to go to the Freestar Collective, but I haven't done it yet.
Is there
So my
room on
ship's
that
getting
ship?
very busy.
Is there room on the frontier? I
Just
mean, it's
about. I
very
stuck another
small.
crew. I stuck a bigger crew compartment in it, but it's still a bit cramped. But
Yeah,
I
I
have
mean,
I
you.
have picked up that Mantis quest because that's like the quest that everyone was like talking about when
Mm,
the game launched. But I haven't
mm.
done it yet. But I know you get a ship for that quest, so I might do that soon.
Yeah, it's just difficult getting to the star system. So you
Mm.
have to do a lot of like sort of navigating around to get there. Um, I found it. I got a bit annoyed with it. I was just like, "Oh God, I'll just come back to that. You know, it's still there, so I'm gonna come back." But I'll probably play a bit more of the main quest just to get Sam, and I want to get the guy. I want to get Lynn and the other dude if I can recruit them. You can recruit that guy who you rescue on the for the artifact. I can't remember his name now.
Mm.
What was his name? We can recruit him to be a crewmate as well. But he's still wandering around on his ship. I don't know if you can pick that ship up. You can't commandeer that ship, can you?
I don't think so. No.
Nah.
It seems like there's a lot of crew because like, I was walking around New Atlantis and there's at least like 3 people just like sitting at bars that you can
Mm,
recruit as well. And just like, oh,
okay.
I'm just sitting here because I'm in between jobs. A lot of pilots
Mm.
come through here, so I'm going to see if I can get on a crew. And I was just like, I don't have space for you. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
You need to build a
Oh,
bigger
now I feel
ship, innit?
bad. Well,
You
you
can
can get
either
like a
put
fleet of ships, can't you? You can like crew
uh,
them up. So
uh,
that's what I'm planning on doing at some
or
point, have a whole fleet.
or you could make an outpost and you can
Yeah, and
send them
stick
to
them
the
there.
outpost. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't think they're your crewmates, but they're not your companions, are they? I
Mm,
don't think, can they
yeah,
follow you?
I'm not sure. I don't think they
Mm,
can.
I'm not too sure either. I know,
Barrett,
like, you have,
Vasco, and Sarah can at this point.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, I don't think any of the others can.
yeah. I think you got. I know there's another lady that joined your crew she's a potential romantic interest for you.
Andrea.
Andrea, I know that. I think there's only like 5 actual companions who have their own side quests, their own
Mm,
personal quests. So I think there's only 5. But yeah, so far so good. I mean, I do like the fact that they sort of padded out the your companions more because, like, in Skyrim and in Fallout, I mean, definitely in Skyrim, you had your followers who just followed you around, more like they were just carrying stuff for you.
Pack mules.
Uh, yeah. So, I mean, they can still do that in Starfield, but they do have their own sort of like stories and backgrounds and everything like that, especially your companions. So I quite like that. I know in Fallout 4, you had your companions, you had your teammates as well, who had their own stories, but they didn't feel as fleshed out as they have in Starfield so far, for me personally. So I'm glad they've done that. They sort of made them feel a bit more sort of intricate to the story. It's almost like having, like, the standard like um teammates in like a Mass Effect or BioWare sort of game. Yeah,
Speaking of Mass Effect, that is at the early hours of Starfield. The game I was mainly reminded of was the first Mass Effect.
yeah.
It's giving me big Mass Effect 1 vibes.
The music
Probably
was pretty
because you like
similar.
find an artifact and then have a vision.
Yeah, Vision. Yeah, yeah. It's
But
quite
yeah,
similar to that. Yeah,
but
and
it
the
felt
music's
very
been
much
pretty
like
good.
if Bethesda made Mass Effect 1, this is what we would have got, is kind of the feeling I was
Mhm.
getting from it.
Uh,
Yeah, the soundtrack's really good. They always have good soundtracks, Bethesda
mm.
games.
I do like it, and I'm really looking forward to it. I've only barely scratched the surface of the game. It's going to be. I mean, this is a good segue to talk about the negativity he's been receiving from fanboys and the press. Like, there's been the reviews have been mostly positive. I mean, I'm a bit disappointed that certain gaming outlets have reviewed it pretty low because I don't think it deserves the negativity that it's getting. A lot of outlets have reviewed it by playing not too much of it, so their judgment is kind of like skewed. But let's talk about that. Like, let's talk about the negativity now because we talk about the positives, but let's just talk about because it always was going to be a controversial game. Obviously, with the purchase from him being purchased by Xbox and being made a console exclusive, there was always going to be negativity because, like we said, we've mentioned this before. Like Sony were planning to have that as a timed exclusive for PlayStation. It was an open secret. You know, people like they were like looking to have that as a timed exclusive.
They were literally negotiating it
Mm.
not long before the acquisition,
That
and
kind of
I
prompted
think it
Xbox
pretty
to.
much, yeah,
Mm,
I think it pretty much came out of like the court documents for the Activision Blizzard
mhm,
um, acquisition that's still going on a
mhm,
year and 9 months later, or whatever it is.
mhm.
That was like partly the catalyst for Microsoft just going fuck it, we're buying Bethesda.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but like
but yeah, it was
let's talk.
always going to be a bit of a
Mm,
tinderbox because obviously like Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo were timed exclusive on PlayStation 5, so like people on PS4 and PS5 or whatever, people on PlayStation didn't have to kind of consider they'd miss those games because they got before anyone else did. So Starfield is really the first game. I mean, I know there was Hi-Fi Rush, but the first like big game that people were looking forward to that didn't just come out of nowhere.
mhm,
Where people have really had to like reckon with the acquisition.
mhm,
So it was always going to be a shit show. I do get the sense a lot of outlets as well were really looking for something to give Microsoft the black eye for. Um, just the way they went in on Redfall as well. Like there are plenty of games that come out underbaked and not particularly good and sort of like nowhere near where they should be. But they generally don't turn into like big deals. I mean, obviously it's going to be a bigger deal when it's a platform holder because there's only 3 platform holders. So when they have a big turkey, it's going to be bigger news. But yeah, I get the feeling that some people have been just waiting to give Xbox a bit of a black eye. Like there was one website, I think it might have been Rock Paper Shotgun, like in the months leading up to release, they were just posting like loads of negative stuff about Starfield, which is fine. If you don't like the game, you don't like the look of it, you're free to say that. But it does kind of make it look like it does give the impression like, oh, you were looking for this to be like you were looking to give this a bad score or whatever. Which don't want to get too heavily into like conspiracy theorizing or anything, but it does make you think, well, if this was your attitude before you'd even played it, um, like they had that massive 45-minute direct. I think it was RPS that did this, and then like afterwards they were like they had an article up saying Starfield had a massive direct, and they just decided to show us grey rocks again. It's just like that was a 45-minute direct. There was so much stuff in it, and that's what you like. That's what you're focusing on. That one of the planets was grey. Yeah, I don't know. The discourse has been very strange around this game.
So some of the reviews from the gaming outlets A lot of them been really positive. You know, like some people claiming it to be a masterpiece, giving it 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5, you know, 8s, 9s. But there's been some like major outlets like say like IGN, Eurogamer,
GameSpot.
GameSpot. Yeah, I was going to say they've given it not bad, but not great. Um, so let's just say it's not. It's sort of affected the score, which to be honest, I was kind of expecting it to sort of like the score to be affected by. Obviously, it's been reviewed bombed a lot. You know, people just giving it ones and zeros, not giving any explanation to why they feel like that. Obviously, haven't played the game; they just want to review bomb it. And yeah,
Unfortunately, it happens with every big game. It's just
yeah.
dumb. It's really stupid.
I mean, I feel like it is done with every big game, but I feel like it's just obviously this is a big title, and obviously this is was going to come out on PlayStation and as an exclusive, and then Xbox took it over. Now it's an Xbox exclusive, but like, do you feel that it's justified the 7s, the 6s it got? Do you feel like that's a fair representation, fair score, or do you feel like anything lower than a 8 is bad? Because I feel the same outlets have given other Bethesda games higher scores, but have given this one lower scores. And I kind of feel like I don't really understand why they haven't. And some of the reviews, some of the headlines, have just made no sense to me. So, what do you think? Like, am I crazy? Or are we crazy as fans, as consumers to think that some of this poor reviews from, I mean, like even like Jim Sterling gave the game they gave it like a four out of 10, which I think is fucking crazy. I know they have
They were
their
always going to savage it
yeah
though, because they are very
yeah
sort of anti-big games anyway, which is
yeah. I
it's
know
fine. But
I
they were
know
always going
that
to
there's
savage it.
I saw the review they gave it, and they had a lot of like sort of political sort of undertones to it. I don't understand like the whole thing for it, but I wish they could have like reviewed it on its own merits, instead of giving it, because I feel like they gave the score some really low with some venom to it. But
It's kind of their
IGN,
thing.
oh yeah, I mean, if you don't know who Jim Sterling is, they're a very like cynical British games journalist, and they do sort of like he's sort the sort of style is sort of like very oh, I mean, I haven't watched many of their videos recently, so I'm not too like I don't know how
Well,
to
a
explain.
lot of their focus of their channel is sort of like how terrible the games industry is, um, which is good that someone's talking about that stuff. And they are pretty anti AAA, even to the point of saying AAA in a sneery voice, which again is fine. Like, to be honest, a lot of AAA games kind of pass me by because a lot of them feel very formulaic, and like they're just like, to go into an example, and people are just going to assume I'm picking this one because it's a PlayStation game, but 2018 God of War game was just like, let's grab every AAA gaming mechanic and throw it all together into a game with great graphics. Um, and you've got like IGN readers calling that the greatest game ever made, and me sitting there going, "Oh, it's 6 out of 10 for me." So, I mean, it's I'm going to admit at this point I haven't read a single StarField review or watched a single StarField review, because I tend not to. If I know I'm going to play a game, I don't check out reviews, because not that they'll like change my perception of anything, but I don't want to like, a lot of reviews will kind of like stick on a certain mechanic or part of the game and kind of go into a bit of detail in it and sort of dissect it a bit. And I don't want to be sitting there playing the game and then the back of my head the whole time is, I wonder where that bit is they were talking about in the review. And then when I get to go, oh, this is that bit in that review. Oh, this is what that reader said about that. I just end up kind of fixating on it. It doesn't affect my own feelings on the game, but it does make me kind of fixate. So if I know I'm going to buy a game, I'm going to play it, I don't read reviews until after I've played the game. Usually I'll finish the game and then I want to go and read some critique of it to see kind of like where I fall in terms of other people reviews. Where I will read reviews is if I'm kind of mixed on the game, like Immortals of Avium that came out recently. Like every trailer, I was like, I think it looks kind of average. And so I thought I'll check out the reviews and maybe if it somehow turns out to be amazing, I'll buy it. And I read the reviews and I was like, oh, it's kind of average. So that's where I kind of read reviews, games where I'm on the fence. So I haven't actually read or watched any StarField reviews, but I have noticed a lot of coverage of StarField as being very weird. Like, because I mentioned earlier, it feels like a lot of people have been waiting for an opportunity to give Xbox a black eye. And like I say, like RPS were like running loads of sort of snarky negative articles about every little thing, about how it was all grey rocks and all this kind of stuff. And it's just like, you've seen so little of the game. Why are you making snarky articles months before it's out? And then, honestly, the worst for it has been Metro. You know, the free newspaper Metro that we get here in London. They have a games page called Metro Games Central, which I think is it's spun off from. Do you remember? I can't remember what it used to be, but there used to be like a games page on CFAX. I think it like spun off from that.
CFAX, Jesus, that's going back,
on teletext.
Text, remember teletext. Damn.
But yeah, they've like for the week from release, like they do readers features that they highlight on the front page, and they're generally just like fanboy shit, to be honest, that really don't deserve any air. But for the first week after Starfield's release, they were just putting up every single negative fanboy take they could find from their readers' articles on their front page. And it's just like, what are you trying to do here? Like clearly trying to like skew perception of this game in one direction or another. And it's just like, you go on the Metro Game Central main page and it should be full of negative Starfield stuff. And it's just like, it felt a bit performative to me. Even not taking the reviews into account, because I've checked out the scores just to sort of see where people were falling in terms of like Meta-critic and OpenCritic and stuff. And I don't particularly care what the end score ends up being as long as I'm enjoying the game, which I am. But I haven't read any of the reviews or watched any reviews because I don't want to kind of get stuff spoiled for me in a sense. But yeah, it's definitely a weird atmosphere around this game that I don't think I've really experienced before. There's always like fanboy takes about console exclusives and stuff, but it feels a bit different around this one. I don't know if you feel the same.
Yeah, it's just you might not have read the articles, but the headlines. Some of the headlines really shocked me. I saw one headline from Eurogamer, a site I do kind of respect, and one of their headlines was Starfield feels like exploration without the exploration, a game with exploration without the exploration. I was like, what? I mean, I've only played 8 hours of it and I've already discovered and explored so much. You know, like I said, random encounters, random I remember there's I've come across planet systems, and in my short amount of time I've had the game, played the game, and I've discovered and explored a ton, and there's so much to discover. Like you're saying, we felt overwhelmed. I know a lot of people like criticized the lackluster opening because it was very like, everyone's like, it's not like another Bethesda game. I was like, where you sort of just, you have your intro and then you sort of get to explore the whole world. And I was like, well, okay, I get that, right? Fallout 3, you started off in the bunker. You had the game mechanics. You didn't go straight out into the open world. You know, you were in the bunker for like an hour and a half.
And everyone felt that took too long.
Yeah. So people just like they basically just you just want to be like, yeah, there you go. Here's the game. Like just play it. But every game, every Bethesda game has an intro. Even the Skyrim had an intro. You know, like you were a prisoner, you're about to get beheaded, and you get attacked by a dragon. You have to run away, and then then you can do what you want to do. I get that, but with this, it's a different sort of. It's not a Skyrim sort of type game. It's a space game, So it's a new IP, and I quite like the fact that not that it's hand holding, but you get to like because I feel like the story is more important, central to this game, and I do like that the mystery, the mystery towards involved with the artifacts. I'm really intrigued by that, so I'm invested. Like it's not even that. Like once you get to Constellation, you have your introduction. You can sort of just bugger off and not do anything else.
Mm.
But I didn't do that because I just wanted to like get the second artifact. You don't have to do it. You knew if you wanted to complete the story, but I just bugger. You can just bugger off and get back onto your frontier and explore the systems and the galaxy on your own. But I did want to like progress the story a bit more so I can get my other companions and unlock other parts. But like I always feel like it was like an uphill battle for Starfield. Unfortunately, obviously, like Todd Howard, like people said that he he's doing what's his name from like he was in charge of Lionsgate, the lead developer, the guy who always used to promise crazy things with Fable, and always
Oh,
never
Peter
used to.
Molyneux.
Peter Molyneux. Yeah, people are like, oh, like Todd Howard like says this and that, and he don't actually he promises this, and I'm like, yeah, he does make a lot of like wild claims. I mean, I don't know if all of that is negative because I've only played about 8 hours of the game, so I can't really say. But I know people are not taking too kindly with the space exploration. And they say that you can't really explore. You are sort of like trapped in sort of like a little box of the like a lot of it is fast traveling, but I don't know. I'm still enjoying it. I'm still like when I like sort of travel to other systems and find out new things and like new stuff in each system it's interesting to me. I'm really I'm really like talking about it more and I'm talking about it now and what makes me want to play it more
Mm.
to sort of like get really invested into it. So I don't know, like some people have been comparing it to Mass Effect with the hand holding. I don't get that.
I mean,
I
it's
mean,
still very much a Bethesda game.
it's still a Bethesda game. And what's wrong with being compared with Mass Effect, especially the first one? I mean, the first, I know like they had the hardware limitations of the 360, but a lot of the first game just you landed on your Malco and there wasn't much around. A few little like spotted like little little like debris and little like compounds and stuff. You got to drive around there, but I enjoyed that. A lot of people didn't like that in Mass Effect. I did. I thought it was great. I loved the Malco. I'm so pissed that they sort of got rid of that. Got rid of the Mass Effect 2 was very, very streamlined. Great game, but very streamlined. You can't go to other planets and just land there. But that's what I like. So this is what I quite like about Starfield. It's just like, oh, there's a planet here. Okay, it's unexplored. Let's go and land there. Let's see if scan it and see if there's anywhere we can land. There's a few unknown locations here. There's a settlement over there. Let's go there. So this is I mean, like I think when they heard about procedurally generated planets. I think that kind of put a lot of people off. So I think people want more of the handcrafted sort of planets. So far, I haven't come across any procedurally generated planets yet. I know there's out there because I'm just looking at the star map and I'm just like, wow, there's a lot here. There's a lot of systems here. There's going to be a lot of planets in each of these systems. So far, I haven't come across any of that. But like, so yeah, basically, I just don't understand the. Well, I do understand negativity towards it because it was going to be that no matter what. It could be like the second coming of Jesus Christ, and it still would be like people find something. There'll be something wrong with it. So yeah, it's just a shame. Like some of the gaming outlets that I quite like, especially Eurogamer, was like they gave it a 7. People say, yeah, 7's a good score for it.
I think they
But
gave it a 3 out of 5, didn't they?
did they give it a
Because
3?
they do on 5 stars now.
Is it? Oh, I
Yeah.
thought they gave it a 7 out of 10.
No,
It
they
might have been.
stopped.
It might have been GameSpot.
IGN and GameSpot both gave it a 7, I think.
Uh-huh.
But Eurogamer stopped doing scores out of 10 years ago, and they moved to a system where it was either recommended, essential, no badge at all, or avoid. And then, like just before Tears of the Kingdom came out, they switched to a 5-star thing, which I think sucks. I liked it when it was like when you actually had to read the review to see what they thought about the game. Because realistically, most people use reviews just for the number to throw at someone else, whether it's good or bad.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, in isolation, I saw the Eurogamer headliner. Again, I haven't read the review, but I saw the headline. And in isolation, it does seem bizarre because the game is fundamentally about exploring. I think where a lot of people are kind of tripping up with StarField is like in their previous games, there's one world, right? There's one open world map. If you want to go and explore the world, you just walk out of whatever town or settlement you're in and just pick a direction and go and explore. In StarField, you can still do that, but you still get a lot of space to play with, but there's less in it than there are in those other games, just by virtue of there being 1,000 planets. Each of them is less dense. There's still plenty of cool stuff to find. I've found like really moody like mines and stuff to go through that go deep underground. Like science outposts and stuff like that. There's still plenty of stuff in them, but I think the fact that it feels less dense, and they probably are less dense than their previous worlds, makes it feel maybe a bit disjointed for people because they're like, all right, now I have to go and find a different world, or you got to go out to orbit and pick another landing spot to get another chunk of the same world. And I get that, but I think what a lot of people are discounting is traveling to other systems. That is also exploration. It might not be on foot exploration, but traveling to other systems is exploration. You're traveling to that system, you're seeing what planets are there, what moons are there. Like maybe there's an asteroid belt that you can like look into and find stuff. There's space stations that you can go and dock with. There's like derelict ships that you can go and dock with and explore. All of that stuff is exploration, but I don't think people are actually sort of categorizing that in their own heads as exploration. So on one hand, I kind of get it. On the other hand, I feel like it's a bit of a narrow view of what the game is doing. Like it's definitely a bit more segmented than people are maybe used to from Bethesda game, but there's more of everything. You just got to go and like, it's a slightly different mindset, I guess. And as people, we are generally fairly resistant to change. We like what we like, and anytime it changes, it kind of it requires effort, right, to get used to something new. And I feel like a lot of people are just like, I'm not putting that effort in. It's not the same game as I played before, 6 out of 10. But it's kind of weird. Like you see like outlets that gave Skyrim like 10 out of 10 and gave Fallout 4 9s and 10s. And you go and look at like discourse online about Fallout 4 these days, and everyone will tell you it's the worst thing ever made. It's a terrible game and they should be ashamed of it and all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, everyone gave it 9s and 10s, and it got like Game of the Year awards and stuff in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So Starfield is very much a Bethesda game, but in a new setting with a lot of new systems tacked on. So why is it suddenly like a bad thing? Why is it suddenly worse than the last game that everyone seems to think is bad now?
Mm.
I don't know. It's kind of weird when you look at it at kind of like a macro level like that. It's a bit strange that everybody fawned over all their other games, and this one comes out, which is bigger than all of them and has loads of new stuff, and people were just like, no, this kind of sucks actually. It's just a bit hard to pass from a sort of outsider looking in perspective. And
Do
then
you
you've got
think?
like there's a lot of quality of life stuff as well. Like shooting is so much better than it was in Fallout 4, for
Mhm.
one thing. And you get to fly a spaceship around and shoot missiles at other spaceships. That's cool.
You get
But
to dock them. I haven't been able to dock another ship yet from space combat because you got
yeah.
to make sure not to blow them up. You got to take out their engines,
Mhm.
disable them,
I've done it
and then dock
once.
them. Mm.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I
No
have
good.
done that. I have done that, but that was in the main story.
Mm.
Um, I meant like just randomly. I
Yeah.
haven't been able to do that just yet.
No, I really like finding space stations and docking on space stations
Mm,
because then you sort of like you've got like the tubes that like connect
mm,
different modules of the space station. They're all like glass, and you're walking along this like corridor with like
mm.
glass all around you, and all you can see is like space and the planet that it's like orbiting and
Spice.
stuff like that. It's very cool. I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
space stations a lot, but
Do
all of
you?
that stuff is exploration, damn it, and
Yeah.
people seem to be completely discounting it.
I feel like a lot of the some of the reviews have been criticizing the creation engine too. It's showing its age. It's they kind of they saying that well they're saying that the engine is not up to snuff anymore, which could be true. You know, they want them. I don't know like what they want Bethesda to use a new game engine. You know,
Thing
maybe
is, there is no
Unreal.
other game engine. I mean, if they made it in
Mm,
Unreal, it wouldn't be a Bethesda game. You
mm-hmm,
wouldn't have all of this stuff that Bethesda games are known for, the things that people go to Bethesda games for, which is like all the simulation stuff and all the object permanence throughout the entire world. Stuff like that that's why they use their own engine because there's no other engine that does that. If they moved to Unreal, they'd have to rewrite so much of it that it wouldn't be Unreal anymore.
mm-hmm,
And I think a lot of that is, I mean, I'm not a software developer, so I'm speaking from a point of ignorance myself, but I think a lot of that, oh, they should go to Unreal is just like people seeing, oh, games look really nice on Unreal, so they should make a game on Unreal and it'll look really nice. And there's trade-offs. Like if you're going to do something to the scale of a Bethesda game and have all this like interactivity and all the simulation stuff going on, something's got to give somewhere else. All these
mm-hmm,
super pretty games don't have anywhere near the interactivity of Bethesda's world. So it's, you've got to balance it somewhere.
mm-hmm,
Um, I don't agree. I think the game looks at times very, very good. At times it looks a bit rough. It's inconsistent.
mm-hmm.
All the foliage around the lodge on in New Atlantis looks bad.
Yeah, it
But then
don't
you
look
look at
great,
all the
does it?
skyscrapers and stuff and it looks fantastic.
Mm,
Or you go on your ship and you look at all the like tiny details and everything and all the materials of the ship's built out of and it looks fantastic.
mm-hmm.
So it's a bit inconsistent, but I think generally it looks pretty damn good.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I agree. I mean, the negativity was to be expected. Positivity has been good though. People who have played it love it. I think it's a great game. It's just a shame when it comes to like Game of the Year awards. I don't think it will be spoken of in as a. It'll be nominated, but I don't think it'll be a contender. Tears of the Kingdom obviously will be. Um, Final
Baldur's Gate 3 is
Fantasy
probably
Baldur's Gate
probably going
3
to
is probably
sweep the
going to
board. To be
sweep it
honest,
because it wasn't unexpected, but it did sort of like
it did better than
surprise
anyone thought
everyone.
it was going to do.
Yeah, I mean, like let's talk about like the developer of Baldur's Gate had to come out and defend StarField because there was an ex-developer on Twitter. I'm going to call it Twitter, was criticizing
Good.
Bethesda because he was comparing it to Baldur's Gate. He said, "Here's one game made with love and passion. Here's another game made by a soulless AAA company." And then the developer tweeted replied saying, "You can't say that. That's no way. You can't say they didn't care. Please don't compare us with your like to trying
Don't
to
use our
justify."
game as a
Yeah,
cudgel
con-
against.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
con-
stupid. Like
it's really
they're two
dumb.
incredibly different games as well.
Exactly, really different
Like
games.
if you wanted if you wanted a Bethesda game and you played Baldur's Gate, you'd be very disappointed. If you wanted
Hmm.
a D&D game and you played StarField, you'd be very disappointed. They might both be
Mm.
RPGs, but they're extremely different RPGs, and both are very
Hmm.
good. So people should just be happy that both games came out well. But yeah, in
Yeah.
terms of like, I think Starfield is going to be one of those games where the kind of the public that play it remember it much more fondly than the people that reviewed it. And one way you can always tell that is like how it's being picked up on social media, and like um, YouTube is full of like Starfield shorts and like people like packing 30,000 potatoes into a storeroom and then opening the door to
Mm.
see how they fall out with
Game
the physics
physics.
system.
Uh,
And there was one where someone like went into the console on PC and like generated 10,000 bottles of milk or something over the Mast building, and then they
mm.
just like watched as all these cartons of milk
Oh,
fell down and dispersed over the building.
yeah.
And it's just full of stuff like that. There's people like sharing stuff on Twitter talking about like random quests they came across. That's where the real kind of value and longevity of the game is going to show, because it's going to
Mm.
people are going to be talking about it and sharing stuff from it for months, if not years. When the creation kit comes out and the modders really get into it, that's what's going to give it like ridiculous legs that Bethesda games always have. I mean, people are still playing Morrowind, never mind like Oblivion or Skyrim. These games, they become kind of evergreen, and
Hmm.
reviewers some reviewers might have played it and gone, yeah, it's average, I'm on to the next thing, but the people that are playing it are going to be playing it for years. And that's the thing
Yeah.
that I think people need to remember.
I think that's a good place to leave it. I mean, I think like let's leave it on something positive. But one more thing, game of the year is coming up. We got the contenders. We got a lot of RPGs in there. Baldur's Gate, Tears of the Kingdom, Starfield, Final Fantasy 16, probably Resident Evil 4 remake.
I know a lot of people are
Uh,
saying Dead Space remake should be in there, but I think
Dead Space
I don't
remake.
think it'll be
Oh
in there.
no,
That I mean, it was a good remake until like the last couple of hours of the game where they just like fuck it, just throw everything at you, and it gets very frustrating
mm.
towards the end. But it also came out in like what, January. If a game comes out
Yeah,
early in the year, it just gets forgotten by the time
no
January
Hi-Fi
rolls
Rush,
around.
that for sure. They won't be in there,
It might get
but
nominated for like
no
a
something. Yeah,
soundtrack or something, but
yeah. But
yeah, it'd be a shame if it
yeah,
doesn't get some recognition because it
I'm
deserves it.
ex-
It's a pretty good game.
I'm expecting Baldur's Gate to sweep the board.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be this year's Elden Ring.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see Final Fantasy 16 getting a look in. I mean, that's kind of been forgotten about. No
Yeah,
one
it
talks
feels
about it
like
anymore.
Baldur's Gate
Uh,
came out and just kind of
took away.
deleted Final Fantasy
Yeah,
16.
I mean that Meta-critic score is on par with Starfield. I mean, I think that's like on an 83 or 84, and that didn't get fucking like review bombed or anything like that.
Hmm.
I don't think anyway. Probably did by Xbox fans. Better
Yeah,
that it
because
didn't
who
come out
knows
on
if it'll ever
Xbox.
come out on Xbox.
Mm,
But we'll see, I guess, in a year's
yeah,
time.
exactly. Well, I've not played many of those games that I've mentioned. I have Tears of the Kingdom and played it.
Same.
Obviously, I've got Resident Evil 4 remake, not yet played it.
I haven't even bought
Um,
that yet.
got no, I haven't got Baldur's Gate, but I will get it when it comes out on Xbox. I could play it on PC, but I'm going to wait until the Xbox version comes out because they made concession. They want it to come out this year, so um, Series S one get a split screen co-op on release. So they made that compromise. So that's going to probably come out later this year. So that's good. And yeah, Starfield. I mean, I don't think Starfield will win either. Maybe it'll get something on sound design and soundtrack, but I don't think it will win. And I'll be very
I think
surprised if
it'll
it
win
did.
like an individual publication's Game of the Year
Mm,
here and there. I don't think it'll
mm,
be like the Game Awards, which is really the only one anyone cares about.
mm.
I don't think it'll win that. I think it's Baldur's Gate is pretty much nailed on.
And well done
Yeah,
to
fair play to him,
well
Solarian.
done, Arian. Yeah, no, I mean they made didn't they work on Definitive Original
Yeah,
Sin?
all the Divinity games. They've been
Yeah,
beavering away at them for years until like Original Sin came out and was a big hit.
big hit. Not many people talk about that, but they go back and play that. I own that. I think that came out on console. That came out
Yeah, they
on
did. Yeah,
Xbox.
both of them.
Yeah.
Original Sin 1 and 2.
So I got that. So if you're hankering for some Baldur's Gate content, go and if you got an Xbox or PlayStation, get on it, man. Play that. That'll tide you over until Baldur's Gate 4 comes out in 10 years' time, maybe by a different developer, because Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 was made by BioWare.
They were
Yeah, so yeah, who knows who's going to take that over? Yeah, probably still think it'll be what the developer called who's the developer made Baldur's Gate 3?
Larian.
Larian. Yeah, they'll probably do 4. But I think that's a good place to end it, Mr. Ross. Yeah. So that's it. Starfield, like it. If you like the game, you want to play it. It's on Game Pass. Play it. It's great.
Yeah,
You're going to
make your own
enjoy
mind
it.
up. It's
Yeah, make your own mind up.
very easy to, very low barrier of entry.
That's a good thing about having if you've got um something like Game Pass. You can play it, and if you really like it, you can get yourself a physical copy if you want to keep it. Like to look at it and go, "Oh, this is Stargate." But
Starfield,
yeah, Did I say? What did I say? Stargate.
Stargate.
Well, that's another good. They should make a bloody game of that. I liked Stargate,
That'd be
the
that'd be a
film.
that'd be a hell of a that'd be a big game if they made a Stargate game.
Yeah, just you need to have a good SSD drive in it to teleport instantaneously to other worlds. Bit like Ratchet and Clank, apparently. But anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You can get this podcast on all podcast platforms apart from Apple Music. But yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you again next time. Bye. Say goodbye.